Welcome back, Patriots, to the Bald Brad Show. And yes, we might be starting late, but I was here on time. Major streaming issues. If you're over at YouTube, well, you are seeing a recording of this. We are currently live over at Rumble. We're not live on X. Don't know what's going on with Rumble Studio, but Rumble Studio is saying my account needs to be verified, which it already is, or I need to have more than 5 followers, which I already do, or I have to have a paid plan, which I'm pretty sure I do as well. They're not letting me stream, so nothing against Rumble. They take good care of us, but that's why I had to kind of do a workaround. We're only live on Rumble, so hopefully if anybody's stragglers over at YouTube, they can find us. But I always said, follow me on both. So if something goes awry, which as you're seeing it did, you're able to know what the heck's going on. So with that being said, let's jump into the news. We're going to end a little bit earlier today because I'm going to have to upload the live stream to YouTube so everybody can view it after. But thank you so much for everybody joining us this fine morning. And yes, my eye is a little bit swollen, So we got a lot going on here, but that's not going to stop us. Rumble or YouTube, we are live on Rumble. There isn't going to be YouTube today other than a recording that we're making right now. It's getting set up on YouTube. So we have the woke bishops back. And I guess the left is saying she didn't politicize her prayer. We saw this yesterday. Lady, yes, you did. Yeah, big time. So if you remember on Wednesday, she said that she had not politicized her remarks during inaugural prayer, when in fact she did politicize it. Oh, be careful. Have grace on those. The trans children are scared to death. They don't know what to do. The illegal aliens, the migrants, the immigrants. I don't even think she said illegal immigrants. She just said migrants and immigrants themselves. And what you're seeing once again, and it's a really fascinating thing, and it even happens to people in my life, where they are talking about immigrants, but they're not able to make the distinction between legal and illegal. And there's only 2 things really going on with that. First, they don't want to acknowledge that there's an illegal immigrant and legal immigrant based on what we have as the law, because that's what we follow. Or they just genuinely don't want to confront that, because the second that they do, meaning they're aware of it, but the second that they do, then they might have a family member or somebody else that has to be deported. So there's really only 2 routes to this. I don't think people are full-blown NPCs where they're not able to compare and contrast legal versus illegal. Maybe they are, and that would be the fault of the education system, and honestly, maybe even their families, for uplifting them through society and through their life, where they're not able to see the differences between the 2. I could do it. I could see the difference between somebody committing a crime and not a crime. The colors black, white, purple, green. You guys get what I'm saying. I don't even know why I'm over analyzing this. You totally understand. So here she is, the bishop. How could it not be politicized? So here she is. Jesus. Y'all remember this from yesterday. So she's on The View, of course. Of course she's on The View.
Bishop, predictably, you seem to strike a nerve. President Trump initially said yesterday it was, quote, not a good service, unquote. But overnight, he took to social media to say you were a, quote, radical left hardline Trump hater, unquote, that you brought the church into politics and that you owe your church and the public an apology. Now, given your role, it doesn't seem surprising that you would speak out for the marginalized, as anyone who's read the Bible and knows the path of Jesus. But do you think your message is being misconstrued and politicized?
Well, sure. Yeah. But I think if you read what I said, and I mean, how could it not be politicized, right? We're in a hyper-political climate. One of the things I caution about is the culture of contempt in which we live, that immediately rushes to the worst possible interpretations of what people are saying and to put them in categories such as the ones you've just described. That's part of the air we breathe now. And I was trying to speak a truth that I felt needed to be said, but to do it in as respectful and kind a way as I could. And also to bring other voices into the conversation, which voices that had not been heard in the public space for some time.
So she contradicts herself. It was a whole political message. The whole thing was surrounding what Trump, JD Vance, Tom Homan, and everybody else is doing. And here's the thing, and we'll get to in a moment. Tom Homan is already putting the work in, baby. There is so much winning going on. I don't even know what to do with myself. It's a fire hose hitting me in the face, and maybe that's why my eye is messed up. Lord only knows. But how could it not be politicized, right? Maybe by not politicizing it and never bringing up trans people, gay and lesbian, maybe. Hell, what else was in there? Immigrants, you need to be graceful, telling the president what to do. Come on. Time and place, lady. Time and place. So, she did politicize it. She did. I mean, it was an anti-Trump sermon. Is the end result of a Marxist plot. This was a fabulous, I actually read this one late last night and I had to show all of you. So the bishop who presided over the inaugural prayer service on Washington's National Cathedral Tuesday disgraced the nation when she used a nonpartisan occasion of religious worship to deliver a left-wing diatribe to the president and vice president. After asking Trump to have mercy on gay, lesbian, and transgender children, which I don't even know what she's talking about, to be quite honest. She went on to basically go after from the pulpit about his immigration policies, describing illegal aliens as the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings. Pretty crazy statement. It is a crazy statement. There's a lot of other people, ethnicities and races that do those types of jobs. There's Asian people that do those jobs. There's white people that do those jobs. There's black people that do those jobs. There's a lot of people that do them. And it's pretty crazy how nobody's going to call her out for saying that thing. But have mercy on gay and lesbian, I really don't know where that's coming from. I'm seeing people on social media coming out saying, hey, my rights are being stripped as a gay and lesbian person. What rights? They can never name them. I don't know what they're talking about, to be quite honest. And then transgender children, who's going after them? If anything, it's the left that's going after them, that's chopping off their genitals and messing with their cognitive mind and their brain, manipulating their reality by doing gender affirming care that's carrying them along through this fictitious reality that's ultimately enabling them to do disastrous things to their body. I don't understand this. This is bonkers to me. Well, in June of 2020, check this out. She told ABC that the nation needed to replace President Trump when he made an appearance in front of St. John's Episcopal Church to send a message to George Floyd rioters who had burned the historic building basically down. Everything Trump has said done is in a flame violence. We need moral leadership, and he's done everything to divide us. That didn't age well whatsoever. Don't go after the people that are burning down our cities. Don't talk about the people that are doing a massive amount of crime. Don't talk about Antifa that's not just destroying buildings, property, but also taking over entire city blocks like Chaz and Chop. Let's not talk about any of those things, about the billions of dollars in damages. Let's go after Donald Trump that's allegedly politicizing everything, when in actuality, that's what she's doing, and she had been doing since 2020. But remember, we're supposed to play dumb here, folks, as if we don't have the internet and we're not supposed to read up on what she's done and hasn't done. Well, her comments were especially ironic given her backing of divisive racial policies. In 2020, she supported a new health care proposal from Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear that would have provided coverage only to black residents. And she called the Black Lives Matter protest a sacred act. Yes, the same protests that burned down major cities. Black businesses, Asian businesses, Hispanic businesses, white businesses, the whole gambit. Nobody went to jail, and she loved it. Mind you, it's Black Lives Matter. It was on their website. They took it down because they wanted to hide it. Mind you, Black Lives Matter is ran by Marxists. Black Lives Matter wanted to get rid of the nuclear family. Who upholds the nuclear family? People of faith do. This is bonkers. But The View won't acknowledge that, because the second, again, people have to acknowledge things, their whole worldview crumbles. This lady's politicized. She wanted to speak on behalf of the progressive left on a public stage. She knew it would get notoriety because of the things she said in the past got notoriety. And here she is again. Now, whoever planned this church service, I'm going to say this right now, deserves to be fired. You're an idiot. You should have known ahead of time who this person was. You should have known ahead of time that she's going to take this opportunity to go after Donald Trump. The person should be fired. An advocate and organizer in support of justice concerns, including racial equity, gun violence prevention, immigration reform, the full inclusion of LGBTQ plus persons, and the care of creation, reveals that she is in fact a political operative in priestly robes. And I hate to say it, I agree. As somebody of faith, I agree. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. So we have that there. Now let's get to a little bit of winning here. I wanted to make sure we brought some updates to you. And then we got a lot of things going on with legal immigration. We got Trump designating the cartels as terrorist organizations. Whew, we got a lot of stuff here, folks. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, well, hit that follow button over at Rumble. We are only live on Rumble right now. If you're just joining us, Rumble Studio is not allowing me to stream on multiple platforms. I'm not beating them up. I'm just acknowledging the fact of why I'm not an X and why I'm not over there at YouTube. So this recording will go up right after. We'll end about 5 minutes early so I can get that up over at YouTube and head to work. Well, Donald Trump here redesignates the Houthis as a terrorist organization. President Donald Trump signed an executive order on Wednesday redesignating basically the Houthis as a foreign terrorist organization after who did it? Who removed him from the list? Oh, Joey. Remember that guy? The guy that drove the country into the ground? Yeah, Joe Biden removed them from the list. Folks, the Houthis have been blowing up merchant vessels and conducting terrorist operations for the last 4 years across the globe. Now, the Democrats go, well, how do you know that, you bigot? Because we covered it. And not have we just covered it, we've covered the videos of them blowing the tankers up, and now they're at the bottom of the ocean. And it's not just ours, it's our allies. They've gone after our allies in Iraq. They've gone after us in Iraq, our military troops. So don't give me this that we haven't shown the receipts. They just don't want to have their head out of their you-know-whats to be able to see the freaking streams that we've been posting. So good on Mr. Trump here. The move comes after the Iranian-backed Islamic terrorist group, which is based in Yemen, has launched well over 100 attacks. There's the receipts for you in the next paragraph. 100 attacks on international cargo ships, tankers, and naval vessels since Hamas' October 7th terrorist attack against Israel. The White House said under the new administration, it was now the policy of the United States to cooperate with its regional partners to eliminate the Houthis' capabilities and operations, deprive them of resources, and thereby end their attacks on U.S. personnel and civilians, U.S. partners, and maritime shipping in the Red Sea. What I said with the maritime shipping is, start getting that 4K camera out. You see one of those boats coming up? I don't want one off the bow. No, sir. I want that first one to just go boom, gone, missed. And then take it, post it on X so conservative channels like mine can show the world, especially the Houthis, that we're not going to take it anymore. And then I'm going to play that song, We're Not Gonna Take It. Hey, we're not gonna take it. And that's what we're going to do. Because we're not going to take it. Joey took it. Joey took it from all which directions. Every hole that Joe had was filled, let me tell you. And it was usually from the deep state and the Iranians and the Russians and the Chinese and the Romanians. And that's where he was getting all his money from. Well, you got Mike Waltz, give him a shout out here. Today, President Trump reversed the Biden administration's horrible decision to remove the Houthi designation as a terrorist organization. The Houthis are terrorists who have for months launched attacks against the U.S. Navy, international shipping, and Israel. Enough is enough. I couldn't agree with him any freaking more. So that was a big win. There's a lot of winning going on, folks. Again, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, hit that like button. If you're new to the Bald Brad Show, well, we do this live every single morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Now, we have some updates with the Secret Service. This goes against what Dan Bongino suggested to Mr. Trump. We have here Trump named Secret Service agent who sprung into action in Butler to lead agency. That would be him right there. So Donald Trump nominated head of security, Sean Curran, I believe is his name. Now, Dan said that he's a good guy, like he's a nice guy, probably a family guy, but was he the right guy for the job? It was nothing against it wasn't a personal attack against the guy. It's just who's best to do the job. Dan Bongino says it was not Sean. It is my great honor to appoint Sean as the next director of the United States Secret Service, Trump said in a statement. Sean is a great patriot who has protected my family over the past few years, and that is why I trust him to lead the brave men and women of the United States Secret Service. Sean has distinguished himself as a brilliant leader who is capable of directing and leading operational security plans for some of the most complex special security events in the history of our country and the world. He has provided his fearless courage when he has risked his own life to help save mine from an assassin's bullet in Butler's, Pennsylvania. I have complete and total confidence in Sean to make the United States Secret Service stronger than ever before. Now, I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna push back against Trump just a little bit here. If that is the case, Mr. President, then why do you have private security? If he is the right man for the job, why do you have private security? That's just a question. Now, you could say he's the right man for the job and want to have extra security as an extra safety precaution. Totally get that. I'm just proposing a question because, as I mentioned, Dan Bongino said he made an effort here to try and make sure that Donald Trump is going to be safe and that Sean's not the right guy for the job. So I'm worried because there's people that have hit teams on Donald Trump, like the Iranians, and I want to make sure that he stays alive for the rest of his life until, something like natural causes or whatever. So there's an update for you. We do have a Secret Service agent in place to be the head and hopefully keeping Mr. President Donald J. Trump safe. Well, ICE is resuming. We got it here, folks. This is what we wanted. My number one issue, depending on the day. We are winning a lot here. We're winning so much winning. ICE to resume use of term alien and drop non-citizen from foreign nationals. So finally, we're being clear on language. And I've always said this, if you could take a hold of culture, if you could take a hold of the language, then you could take a hold of politics. And the left has done a fabulous job of doing this for the last few years. I'd say actually last decade or so. It really started under the Obama administration, where they started changing the definition of words and then started basically changing the names of what people should be referred to as. And once you take a hold of that, well, it diminishes things, right? Oh, the homeless people are the unhoused, right? Illegal aliens are non-citizens. No, they're newcomers is what the newest term was. Well, immigrations and ICE enforcement will change their terminology to resume to the use of the term alien and drop the term non-citizen, a new memo indicates. I also love the fact that Christians, Catholics, a lot of people of faith go, well, that's a derogatory term. You can't call them aliens. Well, you can. I mean, even in the scriptures, it uses the word alien. You might not like it, but that's what it's called. There's a lot of words I don't like, but they could still be used. The memo from ICE Director Caleb will apply to all international and external communications and will also replace the term non-citizenship with alienage. There you go. The move marks a stark departure from the Biden administration's decision to use more inclusive terms when discussing immigration. Even the word assimilation was dropped in favor of civic integration. Oh, yeah. You want to know what that civic immigration looked like for all of us? Raping and killing your family members. Yeah, your children. Yeah, that's what the civic integration looked like. Yes, to have 13,000+ rapists, to have like 15,000 murderers. They're just integrating in your society. They're just killing you. Yeah, no, this is great. Folks, Tom Homan just came out yesterday and said, look, they're looking for 700,000 criminals right now. Not these criminals. They're not criminals for jaywalking, folks. Let's put it that way. The Biden administration also received guidance from the Rand Corporation, urging it to discontinue the use of the term illegal alien. But even words like jihadist, which warned was racially charged, looter, rioter, trespasser, were all said by the Rand Corporation to be racially charged, as they mostly applied to individuals of a particular race and not the white individuals. Just like insane. What? Let's, for the case, say that that's what the data shows. It doesn't, but let's say it does. Do you want to know why I bring this up? If you've read my book, Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America, I went back 60+ years, as far as I pretty much could, and I talked about the disparities of races, and I did talk about how Black people commit, half basically the murders and the crime in this country, even though they only represent 13% of the population. And I even go a step further on how that 13% actually isn't the whole portion of that half crime that's being committed, because it's predominantly Black men that are committing that crime within the Black community. And so that's only about 7 or 8% of that proportion, but it commits 50% of the crime. But what I did say was, if you look at the other 50%, mind I'm making it kind of even, there's some differences, right? Because you have Asians and Hispanics in there as well, is the white people create basically the other 50%. Now, if you want to get more of the accurate numbers, please read my book, a shameless plug, but it's a phenomenal chapter. I got to say, it is a really good chapter. And so that's why I'm like, well, a white person's a looter too. They're called Antifa. a rioter, trespasser. So I just think it's silly. A jihadist, I think this is a great term because it kind of really does signify who this person is that just blew themselves up. The report of the Biden administration adds it is the disparate application of the term rather than the definition that has caused it to become disrespectful and damaging. Well, that's purely subjective. That's purely subjective. So good on the Trump administration for bringing us back to normalcy and making sense of what the heck is going on here for all of us. Now, there is other news regarding Trump and illegal immigration. I've been asking for this. I'm not even exaggerating, for 4 years. Thank you guys for saying the book is 5-star book. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. If you're looking for it, you get on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Also, links to everything is in the description below. Trump signs executive order sending 1,500 troops to the southern border. Now, I'm going to be a little bit greedy here. I would like that number to be higher, but I'll take what I can get, Mr. President. Thank you so much. Been asking for it for 4 years, every single week, and now we finally got somebody with their head on straight that can do the job. President Donald Trump signed an executive order on Wednesday, sending an additional 1,500 troops to the southern border of the United States, White House press secretary said. Caroline, is it Leavitt? I want to make sure I get that down right. She deserves the respect. Leavitt spoke to the press outside the White House on Wednesday afternoon, where she shared news of the president's latest executive order. It's amazing how we're getting so much transparency. We were promised this from the Biden administration and actually never got it. I would like to point out, I don't know if I've seen the word transparency thrown around by the Trump administration. I'm not saying it hasn't. I just haven't seen it, but they're giving us a lot of it. She said this comes off one day one action, as I talked about on Fox News, to direct the Department of Defense to make Homeland Security a core mission of the agency. This is something President Trump, campaigned on. The American people have been waiting for such a time as this. Example, you're looking at Patriots in the chat and myself, for our Department of Defense to actually take Homeland Security seriously. Because you had the thumb, you had DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas that had his head up, as you know what, that ran this country into the ground, and I think should be tried for treason in this country. He does not have a pardon. Donald Trump could go after that guy, and I think he should, because that guy's leadership, lack thereof, led to the death, the rape, and the murder of many, many Americans. And it's still a problem. And he allowed terrorists to come in this country. This is the number one priority of the American people, and the president has already delivered. Leavitt elaborated further, securing the border and deporting illegal immigrants from this country. President Trump is sending a very strong message to people around the world. If you are thinking about breaking the laws of the United States of America, you will be returned home. You will be arrested. You'll be prosecuted. I love it. You notice how it's clear? Do you guys see that? It's so freaking crystal clear what the message is, not just from the actual actions of the president, but backed up by not what he just said he was going to do, but also his team isn't going, oh, looking through a binder. What did Mr. President say? I don't know. I'll have to get back to you. Talk to DHS, talk to the FBI, talk to this person, talk to the White House counsel, and give him the runaround. No, she just goes, hey, this is what the American people wanted. This is what they voted for. This is what they asked for. Donald Trump's doing it. Now we got the border going to get secured here. I would say it's pretty secure right now. I mean, you're sending 1,500 troops plus. At noon, before Donald Trump was even sworn in, you had the people showing up with the shields, you know what I mean? Not letting people in. El Paso was locked down. So people are writing about Fauci getting deported to Russia. Fauci's crapping his pants. He don't want to go to Russia, man. That prison is cold. Love it. Love it. So I don't know if it's coming across clear. I'm really stoked about this. I am really, really stoked about this. It's a breath of fresh air. It really is. And speaking more about immigration here, we got Tennessee governor unveils plan to aid Trump's illegal immigration crackdown. What's nice about this is I'm hoping this kind of has a snowball effect where you're going to see more and more governors coming out, more of a what's the word I'm looking for? More of a public viewing, more of a PR movement saying, hey, we're willing to work with you. If we got illegal immigrants here, come on in, bring ICE. It's that guy right there. You know what I mean? And I heard rumors. I don't know if this is true. Maybe somebody can actually run the numbers right now or look at the news for me. I heard rumors was they're offering tips, like money, like for somebody that tips somebody off that finds an illegal immigrant in their neighborhood, like a family member or whatever. Like, yeah, my uncle came here illegally. Where's my $750? So we'll see. We'll see if that actually is a thing. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's funny if it is. Texas Governor Bill Lee revealed Wednesday plans to help President Donald Trump implement his crackdown on illegal immigration in the volunteer state. Lee said that he will back legislation at an upcoming special session of the General Assembly to penalize local authorities who defy federal immigration officials, tighten state ID laws, and create a new state position to aid immigration enforcement. Last week, Lee called a special session to address illegal immigration, hurricane disaster aid, and a school choice proposal backed by the governor. Tennessee has a long track record of stepping up to secure our nation's borders and strengthening public safety. I'd be curious on how many illegal aliens are actually in Tennessee compared to places like Texas, Arizona, and also obviously the sanctuary cities, the sanctuary states like we have in New York. You also have Washington. You have Portland, Oregon is an area. Los Angeles. I mean, all these places. California is a sanctuary state. So we'll see. I mean, it could just be one of those grandstanding things, but I like the movement there of people coming out supporting Donald Trump and saying, look, if you're here illegally, you shouldn't be. And we got to do something with you. And that's going to be getting you on a military plane and sending you back to your home country. I know it's not very empathetical, but neither was you coming into the country illegally. And it wasn't very empathetical of you to cut the line and screw everybody else that's doing it the right way. You notice it always goes one way. The empathy always has to go one way. So we're assholes for actually wanting to follow our own laws and remove somebody from the country that's not supposed to be here in the first place. So why is it they get to break the laws, but we don't? Why are they treated so differently, but we are, but we're held to the standard? Do you know? But you don't have empathy. But what about the guy that came here illegally, that paid a drug lord or a cartel or whoever the hell it was to create a multi-billion-dollar business to only enable that going on? But then you get to come here and siphon all the funds from the country, meaning the people that pay into the funds, meaning the taxpayers, and you're not rude. You're not you have more empathy than we do. Why is it that you get to do something like that? It's just odd to me. It's always one way. There's no actual thinking of, hey, you know what? There's two sides to the road here. Yeah, we're not being very empathetic by allowing you to continue siphon from our funds and allowing terrorists to pour into our country. But you know, I think I made my point here. What else do we have here? Scott Jennings, who we love, does a TKO on CNN. Absolutely love it. Where he did not hesitate for a second when presented with a hypothetical scenario in which an illegal alien was arrested at a school. Now, you might be a little confused here. Like, what is he talking about? Illegal aliens being arrested at a school? Tom Homan yesterday said schools are not off limits. So now the left is really losing their minds here, and they don't know what to do. They're spazzing out. And Scott Jennings kind of takes the spotlight here once again at CNN.
I think the question is, what are you going to do when people are getting arrested while you're dropping off your kid to school? Like,
yeah. I think if I were dropping my kid off at school and they showed up and arrested someone who, I don't know, had committed a violent crime or had existing adjudicated deportation orders, I would A, wonder why they were at the school, and B, see, great, finally, somebody is enforcing the law in the United States of America. I would have no problem with this, truthfully.
And the reality is undocumented people are way less likely to commit crime.
But you admit there are some here that are.
Oh, absolutely. There are some. Like, there are some people
and there's no disagreement amongst anybody that's part of that.
So if they were at a school, you'd agree it would be okay to come get them?
Yeah, but it's not just those people that are going to be deported, right? And so, I mean,
do we have a crisis in this country or not? 10 million people came here in the last 4 years. We've had no interest on the part of the last administration to do anything other than create this massive problem. He campaigned on it when he ran and wanted to invite a lot of people here. It's a crisis. People voted for Trump to solve the crisis. There's two issues. It's border security is one. That's a policy issue. But number two, it's an enforcement issue. And what they have said clearly time and again, violent populations, people who have committed violent crimes, and people who have existing adjudicated deportation orders is their top priority. I do not know how anyone, and this is what the New York Times poll said last weekend, could possibly disagree with that.
Yeah,
where were the hues and cries under Obama when he deported 7 or 8 million?
There were a lot.
The economy did not collapse.
There actually
the fruit
were.
Was picked. I mean, whatever it is you argue. I don't buy that the economy is
on this very night where somebody called him.
Well, I agree that there's a communication strategy here. The previous administration's communication strategy was get here, come here, and it'll probably work out for you. His communication strategy is do not come here. Please don't. Do not invite anyone here. Do not expect to be left alone if you do come here and break our laws. Those are two vastly different messages. I prefer the second one, and as it turns out, so do most Americans.
Can I just say,
so we should assume but you all agree, if you have an existing, fully adjudicated deportation order, So that's 1.5 million people. And you all agree that if you are a violent criminal, either where you came from or here, that's another.
There's people who have
I don't
fully
know how many.
adjudicated deportation
This
orders
is these are
who
massive
have American
populations.
children, who are married to
I know,
American spouses.
Do you respect the laws or not?
Who
Do you respect
have-
the courts or not?
Well,
Wait a second.
They went through the court system.
my God.
Hey, allegedly, she says she's a conservative. That's what she says, not me. Shout out to Scott. And I think a lot of you are right. Why is it the left cannot understand this? I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. I've always said it's one of the wildest things to me that they're not able to separate the fact that there's a criminal person here that has like murdered somebody in their home country and they're being allowed to stay. And by the way, even if you came here and you are following our rules and everything like that, you still don't belong here. I'm sorry. And that's easy for me to say because I'm behind a camera and a microphone. But my father came over here legally. He followed the rules. He's an immigrant. So I think, you know how the left goes, well, you're not in their shoes. You don't know what they're talking about. You're just a white guy. Well, how is it my family was able to immigrate here legally then? I think then doesn't that give me a little bit of a say? Mind you, I want to be clear. I don't think you have to have a family of immigrants to be able to speak about this issue. I've always thought that was a stupid ass comment that people make. Well, you've never been in their shoes. You don't have to be in somebody's shoes to understand something. Like you could read a book. I don't know, watch a videotape. I mean, you don't need to actually live out somebody's experiences to understand and fully comprehend what they may or may not be going through. It's such an idiotic thing. You don't know what it's like to be a black guy. Well, one, I'm not black, but two, I could watch what it's like for somebody else to be black and I can analyze the situation and I can see what's right and what is wrong. You don't know what it's like to be Native American. It's just like, as if we can't look back at history and look at atrocities, things that are good or bad, things that have uplifted people or diminished people. We can look at these things and comprehend them. But I'll tell you who can't. The left a lot of times can't. It's really a mind-blowing thing. And that's why I've even said this to people. I go, I don't know if we're living in like an alternate universe where we're in some sort of simulation where these aren't real people, they're NPCs. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. And, you know, it shouldn't because Marxists don't follow the law. They don't. Moving on. Trump rescinds executive order forcing affirmative action on government contractors. Thank you again, Mr. President. God, there's so much. You remember how they kept touting common sense? Oh, it's going to be common sense administration. So far, in the day and a half that he's been president, it has all been common sense. It's been freaking great. I love it. I absolutely love everything. I don't think there's a single thing he's done that I haven't loved. Maybe the Secret Service director, but that's here nor there. You guys, it feels good, does it not? We won the election. Then we got to see him be inaugurated. And now he's keeping all his promises and things are looking good. He comes at Russia most recently with the tariffs, which we'll get to. We'll see if we have time for that. I mean, this is awesome. He rescinded a 1965 executive order signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson, who the left seemed to love, but also is kind of a known racist, that required companies doing contract work for the federal government to institute affirmative action, which is racist, by the way. And the left love it. Why? Because the left love racism while coming out and saying that they're against racism. Affirmative action is putting somebody ahead of somebody else because of their race. Now, there's other things and forms of affirmative action, but that's predominantly what it's used by the Democrat Party. And that's what I mean when they sit there and switch terms like DEI. Oh, you don't like diversity? You don't like equity and inclusion? No, I don't like diversity, equity, and inclusion in the realm of how you use it. Do I think normally it's okay? Yes, because I like diversity of thought. I don't think your race or where you come from really has that much impact on what thing is going to be said here in the room of us trying to make a business decision or save someone's life in the surgery room or flying a plane. Y'all remember they wanted DEI practices on flying planes and they wanted to hire more blind people? Fully aware that seems like a bit from a comedy, like we're doing stand-up. That's not a bit. That is a real thing. These left idiots are so far gone that they wanted blind people to fly planes. I don't care what your race is. If you're blind and can fly the plane better than the dude that can see, then you deserve the job. How about that? Good luck, though. I ain't flying on that plane. Ain't no way in hell. Trump, citing his duty as president to ensure civil rights laws are enforced. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. One sentence is so common sense, it's head spinning. Said in an executive order that such policies have resulted in disastrous consequences of illegal, pernicious, and discrimination that has prioritized how people were born instead of what they were capable of doing. Meaning merit. He's bringing everything back to merit. Unbelievable. Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's nice. It's nice. And speaking of DEI, here's how woke federal employees could keep DEI alive in defiance of the Trump order. So we just went over the Trump order that he's trying to remove it, or I should say try. He did remove it. He rescinded it. Here's how they're going to try to keep it in. And this is the manipulation that you want to keep out for, keep on the lookout for. President Donald Trump signed an executive order purging diversity, equity, inclusion from federal government, which we just looked at. But groups and left-wing leaning bureaucrats could keep DEI alive if left unchecked. So shortly after Trump signed that executive order, the Office of Personnel Management, OPM, issued a memo to executive agencies directing them to put their DEI officials on leave and report any attempts within the departments to rename and conceal DEI efforts. The memo asked agency heads to send an agency-wide notice to employees informing them of the closure and asking employees if they know of any efforts to disguise these programs by using coded or imprecise language. You guys see that right there? That's what we were talking about at the beginning of the show, that the left loves to change the language. They'll basically act as these, I don't want to say spies, but people that are circumventing the system to push a narrative, to push policies that go against the interest of the American people. Which is wrong, by the way. One such effort, the Daily Wire has learned, could be undertaken by employee resource groups, ERGs, identity-based organizations that were central to the Biden administration's DEI agenda, meaning they're already a thing. Many ERGs function as de facto DEI offices offering trainings, organizing conferences, and enforcing DEI policies in their agency. ERGs tend to be very left-wing and in some cases only accept people if they belong to a certain race or share a specific sexual orientation, which, by the way, is called discrimination and borderline racism as well. So if you're only accepting certain races, borderline racism and discrimination for sure on both counts. But it's okay because they're left, right? They're Democrats. It's okay for them to do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I don't even think the right should do it. I don't think anybody should do it. I think there are things that you should segregate people in, not by race, by the way, not by race, but by sexual orientation. What I mean by that is male or female. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think females should be in men's sports. Clear on that. Activist and reporter Robbie Starbuck, known for fighting DEI in corporate America, told the Daily Wire that ERGs will be central to the effort in defying Trump's orders because they're going to go under the radar in the same way that the left was using churches to go under the radar to move illegal immigrants throughout the interior of the country. Affinity groups and ERGs are the hotbed where left-wing radicalization occurs. We've seen it in our company after company through our investigation, Starbucks said. The federal government must disband these divisive groups who control entry on the basis of race or sexual proclivity preferences. These groups are where many of the DEI schemes are hatched, and I guarantee it's the hotbed for planning how to conceal DEI in a defiance of the president. And he's correct here. So that's what they're going to try to do. And, we got to be snitches. You got to be snitches. You got to tell people what you see. So we have that going there for you. I was hesitant to show more of the View stuff, and I think I'm going to kind of bypass that a little bit. The reason being is because we got a lot of the View yesterday, and we can only take so much. And by we, I mostly mean myself. Trump did have that meeting with Sean Hannity yesterday in the Oval Office. I had not watched it yet, so we'll see what goes on with that. You have the first images here of ICE doing their mass deportations, where they're showing arrests of MS-13 gang members and murder suspects. Y'all remember back in 2017 when Donald Trump called MS-13 gang members violent and they're like animals? And then the mainstream media, the legacy media, and the progressive left in conjunction with the Democrat Party goes, how are you calling immigrants animals? You bigot, you racist, right? Because they can't distinguish because, well, we know why, because their brain doesn't work and function properly. How do we know that as well? Because, I don't know, they voted in Joe Biden. That's how we know it doesn't function properly. Well, Fox News embedded exclusively with ICE in Boston as the agency targeted egregious criminal aliens, and the left are losing their minds over this. How could you? How could you get rid of MS-13 gang members? They're just non-citizens, right? They're the newcomers. They want to sit there and have civic assimilation, civic integration. Yeah, they're going to do great things. Yeah, they're going to build up our communities. They're idiots. They are so much. I don't care calling the progressive left idiots, because they are. I really do mean that. They actually are dumb. And somehow we've uplifted them in our society, and I don't know why. Look at this. Gang members and murder suspects. How could you make an arrest at the school system, you bigot? How could you arrest a murderer dropping his kids off to school? This is how the left thinks. And it seems like I'm joking, but I'm really not. Fox News witnessed ICE Boston make 8 arrests, including multiple MS-13 Interpol red notices, murderers and rape suspects, and a violent Haitian gang member with 18 convictions in recent years who told our cameras that he ain't going back to Haiti and F Trump Biden forever. Well, there you have it. And it's pretty clear, right? Today was a good day. Today, we took several significant public safety threats out of our communities, which is good. Unfortunately, a lot were released by sanctuary policies, but we're here to tell the Commonwealth and the rest of the country that we're going to find them whether they're released or not. That's insane. That last statement I don't like. They should have been taken from a vehicle if they're here illegally, and they should have been taken to an airplane, and the airplane should have dropped them off to where I don't care where, as long as it's not here in the United States. Don't care. And the reason why I don't care is because they're a violent criminal gang member. Hello? We're not talking about some dude that came over here illegally, has been working and has kids going to school or whatever, just a normal guy. Hello, we're talking about murderers and rapists here. I don't give a flying F if you want to sit there and fly over the Atlantic Ocean and push them out, I don't care. Give them a parachute and say, figure it out. I am talking about violent criminals, lefties, not you guys, patriots in the chat. I'm speaking to the left here because they don't get it, because they're idiots. How could you do that? How could you talk about pushing somebody out of a plane in the middle of the Pacific with a parachute? You're so sick. You don't have empathy. You're so rude. I don't know, maybe because the guy raped an entire family, including the father, and then decided to kill them, and then decided to drop his kids off at school, and now we're getting hounded for arresting the guy outside of an elementary school? Really? We're the ones being lectured? Yeah, okay. That's why I don't take what they say seriously. There you go. Or Antarctica. No, I don't want Antarctica. I don't even want that, Mizzy. Too close. Send in the space. You know what? Hey, maybe we could, you know what? Here's the thing. I think we can all get behind this. I'm almost out of coffee. Let's send them to Mars. Not a bad option. We need some guinea pigs. Elon will be down for it. Yeah. Figure out the trip. You'll be good. Don't worry about it, man. Yeah, you're good. Either that or some prison. Take me to prison, please. Well, folks, we're going to end a little bit early. I gotta edit the video slightly and then upload it to YouTube. Thank you so much for understanding the hiccup we had today. I'm not sure why Rumble Studio, to be specific, is not working for me. I don't know if Dylan's in the chat, but I'm not able to stream on multiple platforms, so we'll have to figure that out. Hopefully that gets settled. So that was a little bit of a bleep moment for me. But if you could watch the video still, the podcast that you just watched over at YouTube, that would help tremendously. Just pop it on mute and walk away, and just stay all the way through, and that would help me out greatly. It's like Joe Biden. We also have a join tab. If you want to join us over at Rumble, we benefit that more. We just got done running our big ad campaign. We gained over 1,000 subscribers from that. Once February hits, I'm going to unleash a new ad campaign again, hopefully gather another 1,000 subscribers. We should get 12,000 just from ads. But right now, they're not pushing our videos out at all, you guys. Just a heads up. Just want to be clear. They are not pushing our videos out one bit. So, anywho, that's what we got to do. Appreciate all your love and support. You guys have a great and blessed day. We'll be back here maybe tomorrow. I work late tonight. I'm not going to be getting home till the AM, and I wake up at 4:30 for the show. So, we'll see. If I don't come on by 6:30, you know it ain't happening. So take care. Everybody, love you. Take care, Patriots. See you tomorrow. Adios.